All right, hey, welcome everyone. Thank you very much for joining us on twitch.tv/DDO stream for our weekly Wednesday lunchtime live stream. We're going to continue with what we've been doing here on Lamania in on the live stream rather in recent weeks, taking a look at things on Lamania. And today we're going to be taking a look at the Harper and the Vanguard trees, and I've got a special guest with me. Vargouille is with me. Say hello.
Howdy, howdy.
All right, and thanks everyone for being patient with us while we work through a couple of technical issues and getting the live stream going today. Again, we are going to be looking at the enhancement trees. We'd love to hear your questions on it, so if you want to join us on twitch.tv/DDO stream, join us in the chat room and ask us a question. We'd love to hear that. Just quick note of news here before we get started. We are planning to do a Lamania update later this week. It's mostly just some tweaks and bug fixes and stuff, and a little bit of polish for update 23, so you'll hear more about that coming up later. Additionally, we have let's see, I've got an XP bonus of epic XP bonus of 20% and double commendations of valor. That'll be kicking off later this week, probably late Thursday morning Eastern time, and run through the weekend. You'll hear more about that pretty shortly. And we've got a lot of stuff in the works as well. We're quite the busy office at this time. But again, thanks very much for joining us. And don't forget, if you do want to follow us on twitch.tv/DDO stream, you'll be notified for whenever we go live, just like this. All right, let's get to it. Vargouille, appreciate you joining us. We're here to take a look at two of the new enhancement trees, so that'll be coming with update 23. One of them is the Harper, and the other one is the Vanguard. Why don't we start a little bit off with the Harper. The Harper is a tree that's going to be open to every class that has the Harper. You'll get Harper for free as a VIP. You can purchase it in the DDO store, and you'll be able to unlock it for favor in the future. We're targeting update 24 for that unlock there. And what in general would you say the Harper's about?
Well, the Harper tree has a number of things for supporting your party, and it's got a lot of versatility. It really lets you do sort of whatever you want. It's got a number of options for melee fighters and ranged fighters and casters. And there's a couple of unique and interesting things that will just work for anyone, basically. Part of the goal for this tree is if you just feel that maybe you don't like some of your other trees or you want some different options, that this should open up some build possibilities for any number of classes.
All right, and like I said, this is a tree that is kind of a new thing because it's going to be open to every class that wants to take advantage of it here when update 23 arrives. Let's just get started with the core abilities. +1 to hit versus evil. There's lots of evil things in this game, and +1 universal spell power. The tier 2 of that is an ability to improve, and I believe this is standard throughout really the tree, and that choice is charisma, dexterity, or intelligence.
Right. The charisma is not available in the higher options, but in the cores you can also get charisma, yes.
All right, well, yeah, actually take that. Oh, I haven't unlocked it yet. You know, actually, let me do something real quick. I know so it's a little on the loud side for the live stream. I don't want to deafen people's ears, so let's get back to that tree there. All right, so tier 3 on this, +2 to hit versus evil, +2 damage versus evil, and +5 universal spell power for Agent of Good 2. Agent of the next core, the 4th core, is another ability increase. The 5th core is Agent of Good 3. It increases 2 hit versus evil damage and some universal spell power. And then finally, Harper's Freedom. Dispel most detrimental effects from you and add +10 to all saving throws for 20 seconds. It looks like it needs to have an activated clicky there on Lamania, but we'll get that fixed, right?
Yeah.
So I guess just in general here, what do we mean by most detrimental effects?
So this is intended to get you out of various ECs, knockdown, stun, that kind of thing. The reason it says most and not all is because occasionally there will be things like LOL paralyzing you that we need for drama or effects or, particular special raid things. But it's supposed to affect pretty much everything.
All right, very cool. Let's move up then to the tier 1 for this. Harper Enchantment. Your weapon gains an additional +1 to its enhancement bonus, and you get +20 to your maximum spell points. The second one, again, these are all fairly straightforward. Weathered Traveler is +1 energy resistance. This is presumably a stacking energy resistance.
Yes, the stacks with all other energy resistance spells, guild buffs, exactly.
And you can see you can go up to 3 tiers of that. Traveler's Toughness gets you up to a total of 15 extra hit points, and who doesn't need that, right?
Good for everyone.
Awareness, +1 to listen, search, and spot, and that goes up 1, 1, and 1 to up to a +3 there, I believe, right? And plus save versus traps as well. And then finally, Strategic Combat. This is one that I imagine will be quite popular with some builds. You can use your Intelligence modifier to hit with melee and missile weapons. There's also a damage component in here.
Yeah, so the damage one is currently on Tier 2 on Lamagna is what you would be seeing. We're planning to move that to Tier 3, largely in response to player feedback, which we agree it was a bit low and a bit easy to get for all builds. We still think they're going to be pretty popular with some builds. You know, we expect to see Eldritch Knights, for instance, reaching over here, and a number of other builds, possibly Artificers to complement their spells, that kind of thing. But this is exactly the kind of thing that we think will open up some new builds and make some things viable that maybe were on the edge before.
All right, let's move up to the next tier here. Heroic Companion grants an ally plus quarter weapon and +2 to hit and saving throws, usable 5 times per rest. That goes up to 0.5 weapon, and then an additional total of 1 weapon. Ends up being +6 to hit and saving throws. 4% dodge. Dodge is added to the second tier of Heroic Companion. And finally, the third tier adds +10 physical resist rating. This is just basically a way to give your ally a nice little weapon boost, probably before big combat or whatever, lasts 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. It's pretty powerful. This is another one that's nice if you happen to be a druid or artificer, because you'll always have someone to cast it on with your pet.
Someone's asking us to define missile. I probably imagine they're asking about thrown weapons there. Do you know how that works?
It should be. It is intended to work with thrown weapons. So we definitely have had some issues in the past, but it is supposed to work with thrown weapons, and as far as we know, it is. We have not had reports from recent Lamagna that it is not. So.
All right, someone asked, I'm not quite sure what Seikojin means. Did they fix the double stat stacking with the int bonus? I assume that's a bug on Lamagna that we need to take care of.
I don't remember if it's fixed, but it's definitely not intended to get double your intelligence bonus. That is not the intended design.
Yeah, that'll be a nice little bonus. Hope we'll take care of that one. Okay, I guess that's really probably enough for the Heroic Companion. It's just a way, it doesn't affect you, but it does affect your allies and give them a nice boost. Up next, 30, 30, and 40 spell points based on tiers, so that's a total of 100, so I can do math if you max that one out. The next one, Versatile Adept 1, +1 melee power, range power, and universal spell power. Just sort of a generic boost to all 3 of those things. So whatever might best fit your class.
Right. This is similar to a lot of lines we have in other enhancement trees, but this one is a little more general. Should work for anybody. It is particularly more powerful if you're actually playing a hybrid class like Eldritch Knight, where you're actually dealing melee and casting damage or something along those lines.
All right, up next, Know the Angles. And someone keeps getting confused.
Not the angels.
Yeah, not Know the Angels, Know the Angles there. You gain an insight bonus to damage and the DC of tactical feats equal to half your intelligence modifier for 30 seconds. Basically, you cannot have Divine Might and take this. This increases it... the duration of it for 60 seconds and then 120 seconds for the final tier. It does cost 21 spell points to start, and that goes down to 15, and it has a cooldown on it of 20 seconds. But basically a way to give your intelligence modifier, you take half of that, and give yourself a short-term, real significant boost to either damage or the DC of your tactical feats, like Stunning Fist and that sort of thing. Stunning Blow.
Right.
Yep.
But I think players pretty much understand it. Pretty powerful, pretty useful.
Now, this next one is the one we were kind of referencing earlier, Strategic Combat 2. You can use your intelligence modifier for damage with melee and missile weapons. This was previously something that was really the purview of the Artificer Insightful Damage spell, and is now coming to our enhancement trees for the Harper.
Right. So to clarify, where this does apply to thrown weapons and arrows and bolts, since I see there's a question on that. And we are moving it to Tier 3. It is switching locations with Harper leadership, which will actually be on Tier 2.
Yeah, right.
It's our current plan.
Yeah, I should mention, we are on Lamania. I did reference that in the chat and such, but just for the video here as well, we are on Lamania. There are still some tweaks being made to both Harper Agent and Vanguard. That being one of them, we're going to up it just a little bit in the tree to, for balance reasons, I guess you could say. But a very powerful ability, and one that I imagine a lot of various builds, let's even say your wizards, for example, might very well find some real use out of this to become a little more combat-y. Is that a word?
Yeah, I think it's a word. It's definitely viable. I could even see some wizards who are not really focusing on melee deciding that if they're reaching into the Harper tree for other reasons, that they want to take this just to beef up their damage.
Yeah, absolutely. Seikojin asks, does this stack with the Insightful Damage spell?
No, it is not intended to stack with the Insightful Damage spell. So Artificers will want one or the other.
Yeah.
But not both, probably.
As someone with an Artificer who loves his Insightful Damage spell, I can understand why we made that change. Titan asks, can you change Fighter Power Surge and the Titan's Grip Gloves to different bonuses so they can stack again? That's kind of not really related to Harper Agent or Vanguard. I'm not quite sure. That's an item-specific question. I don't really have an answer to that suggestion other than, hey, well, we've read it, we'll take a look at it, that sort of thing. But I don't know of any plans to do so. Starla asks, is Harper for each class? The answer is yes. It is available to every class that has the Harper tree. If you're VIP, you get it for free. You can purchase it in the DDO store, and it will be unlockable for favor in the future with Update 24. In general terms, though, does this tree... is it meant for virtually every class, every build, or is it something where it's a very large pool of classes and those who might wish to take it can do so? I mean, did you specifically design it that, let's say everyone from a paladin to a bard to a barbarian would get something out of this?
We wanted it to be an option for pretty much every class, but in general our design is not that we don't necessarily expect every single character to put points in Harper. We think it should feel okay to do so, but we definitely expect some classes will get more out of it than others, or even specific builds, right, where an Eldritch Knight will get a lot more out of it than a Pale Master, probably, although there are some melee Pale Masters, so some of them could want it too. But it's definitely designed to be similar to other enhancement trees, where it's balanced against other enhancement trees, and it's another option, right? We wanted, like opening up Drow or Favored Soul, right? It's another build option that's not intended to be used by everyone, but it's a choice you can make. It's along with everything else.
And I remember one of the things that was talked about during its development as well was to try to, provide a lot of bonuses to different classes, but really also dip into things that maybe certain builds have told us that they wish they could have, for example, like intelligence to damage and a few other things as well. So a lot of this is a broad pool, but it's certainly not going to be something that every build's going to want to do. If for no other reason than we're not giving you more action points. So you may already have your choices made and not be able to fit this into the tree. But if you do want to dip into some things here, there's a lot of good stuff in Harper. Let's move up to the next tier. This is gets you a basic +3 to all skills. And yes, that is UMD as well. Let's see, know your foe, +1 to the DCs of your spells. A pretty easy way to get some DC bonus on your class. And you do pick a favored enemy as well, dealing extra damage against those various kinds of enemies, dragon, giant. And
I should speak up about the spell DC. We agreed with some of our players who said that was perhaps a bit overpowered for Tier 3. So the favored enemy is staying there. We've moved the DC boost from Tier 3 all the way up to Tier 5 as part of Moment of Clarity, which some players said was perhaps a little weak. So the Tier 5 ability that has an active to increase your DCs of spells also gets the +1 passive all the time for taking that enhancement.
Sure, absolutely. The next one, Versatile Adept 2, gives you up to another +3 melee ranged and universal spell power. You'll see this really throughout the tree here as you go up. Tier 4, Harper Leadership. This is the one that's being switched around with the strategic combat too, right? Yeah.
Right.
So this will go down to Tier 2. Your hirelings, summoned, and charmed creatures get +2 to all of their ability scores, and that becomes +3 and +4 as you invest points in it. And then finally, we do have another ability score improvement of this Charisma, Dexterity, and Intelligence there. So, take that. Alright, let's move up to the next tier, Throat Dagger. This is an active ability. Damages an enemy from afar for 1d4 + 4 piercing damage per character level. Damaged non-boss enemies cannot cast spells for 6 seconds. It is a spell-like ability, can be quickened or enlarged if you have those feats. And let's see. It's just stack up the damage, is that right?
And lowers the spell point cost briefly. There's a few things with spell point costs here. We tried not to make them too large because we do want this to be available to many different players and classes, which is also why you can get some spell points out of the tree. But it's primarily the cooldown.
Someone asks, why is Harper listed under Class Enchantment tab rather than House Enchantments? We don't have a specific House Enchantment tab, so that's the answer for that one there. Talk Like a Pirate Day is September 19th. I'm just answering some questions in chat. We'll tell you more about when Crystal Cove is coming up as we get closer to that, but you can expect that in the coming months. And let's see. Yeah, we'll get to the Vanguard in just a little bit. So let's continue then. Vigor of Life. This is a healing amplification or less damage from negative energy enhancement. I know we've often been asked for additional sources for healing amplification, so there's one. Versatile Adept 3 is gives you again up to a +3 melee range or whatever power, so that and universal spell power, and so that we're looking at +9 for a total investment so far. Magic of Austerity. This is an interesting one in that it emulates a feat. The feat being eschew materials. Your spells no longer need common material components. So they do still need things like, say, for stone skin or some of the special abilities.
Exactly. It works exactly like the feat, and eschew materials is one of those things that we've thought about rebalancing, but some players do take it. It's somewhat popular, but we don't mind giving it out a little more available to other players. It's mostly a convenience, but we think a good number of players will actually enjoy that having that convenience. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I know a few people who have gotten some real use out of eschew materials just because it saves you some time in that. Now, it's something maybe you're not going to make as a core choice for your build, but here in the tree, it's an easy way to get it, frankly. All right, we're going up to the top tier here for the multiple enhancement selector. Enchantment, what is it called? Enhancement or Deception, or Enchantment of Deception. Your weapons get an additional +1 to its enhancement bonus and gain the improved deception ability, which basically allows you to do what a bluff-like effect.
Yes, it's sort of like bluff. It allows you to sneak attack is the major component of that. So we certainly expect rogues to take that and possibly some other builds that have some sneak attack dice.
The other option is Enchantment of Magic. Your weapon gives +10 Harper bonus to universal spell power, so that's a good way to give yourself a decent a universal spell power boost. And then finally, Enchantment of Righteousness. Your weapon gains an additional +3 to its enhancement bonus, and the ability Righteousness, which does what, +2 versus something or other.
It's extra damage against evil, I believe, as well as making your weapon good, which can definitely matter.
Yeah, it can bypass damage reduction, that kind of thing, for those who are susceptible to it. Excuse me. The final one, Versatile Adept 4, gives you another +2, 4, and 6 melee range in universal spell power. The top tier boost that up so you can get yourself a total of +15, I believe, right? Yeah, 9 + 6 is 15 melee ranged and universal spell power from this tree. Magic of Patience is another meta magic that you can basically get without having to take the feat. Your spells get the extend spell meta magic, and it doesn't increase their spell point cost. And then finally, a moment of clarity. For the next 12 seconds, the DC of your spells and tactical feats is increased by 10. Now, we had one that was kind of like that, so you can really boost yourself up there.
Right. This is a pretty powerful short-term boost if you really want to land a Finger of Death or a Wail of the Banshee or even a Stunning Blow or something along those lines. For 12 seconds is long enough to get a few hits in.
Do you know if that stacks with Know the Angles?
Yes, I believe this stacks with everything as far as I know. So for a short-term boost, we want to make it count.
All right, taking a quick look at a couple of questions from chat. The Harper tree, does it give you an invulnerability bubble like the one Harper NPC you have to protect? No, it does not give you an invulnerability bubble. Can Paladin get Harper Agent enchantment as well? Yes, a Paladin can get the Harper Agent. Starlight points out that the one boost is not just for hirelings, but all summons, which do benefit any class that has them. So that would be your pets and that sort of thing as well.
Absolutely.
Someone's asked a question that we have thought about, and the answer is no. Have you guys thought about giving players more action points to spend under certain situations? I did come up with the Harper tree here, but no, we have no plans to add additional action points to the game.
Right. But we consider this a core build choice balance thing where we want to give you more options, but we're not trying to make all players simply more powerful.
All right, I think we're caught up on that. I guess I'm not quite sure what else we should say about the Harper Agent. It's a tree that offers a number of benefits for a number of different builds, so hopefully you get something out of it. Let's move on over to the Vanguard here. Tell me a little bit in general what the Vanguard tree is and who it's for. This is for fighters and paladins, an enhancement for fighters and paladins.
Right, so this is a tree that fighters get a version, paladins get a version. They're absolutely identical. And basically, it's a shield DPS tree. If it is something we really haven't explored a lot, we're pretty excited and happy to get this out there because this will really help sword and board builds, especially ones that want to deal a lot more damage. There's a few things with CC in there and some movement. There's a stunning attack and basically an abundant step that also knocks people down, which is pretty awesome. And otherwise, it's just a lot of shield DPS mostly and a little bit of defense along the way.
Now, I know some people, when they start thinking of enhancement trees that work with shields, one of their questions is, am I going to have to block a whole bunch? And the answer for this one is no. You really, most of these bonuses are passive or special attacks, which we'll show off here in just a little bit.
Right. It's probably worth mentioning there's been some confusion about how shield bashes work, and if you have the feat for improved shield bash or a number of Vanguard enhancements that say they increase your chance to get a secondary shield bash, those are shield bashes that will happen whenever you're attacking. You don't have to be blocking. You can just fight as normal, and you will every so often just see yourself bash with a shield, and so it'll just come with normal fighting, which I think there's been some misunderstanding, so hopefully that will clear that up.
All right, let's go through the tree here. The first core enhancement is to the 4. If you have a shield equipped, you get +1 to hit and damage with your main hand weapon and shield bash attacks. Pretty straightforward there. Shield Combat 1 is the second core, and it gives you a 10% chance to make a secondary shield bash. Vicious Shield 1 is the third core enhancement. Again, an extra 10% chance to make a secondary shield bash, and a +5% combat style bonus to melee attack speed with a shield equipped. I'm seeing a trend here. Basically, every one of these cores seems to give you basically a 10% chance to make a secondary shield bash. At least 3 of those do, right? So
yeah, the first 3 do. We wanted to front load those a little bit so you actually do get some more of that shield bashing relatively early in your heroism career.
All right, Shield Combat 2, this is the fourth core. Also, if you have a shield equipped, you get another additional 5% combat style bonus to melee attack speed, a total of 10 so far. And also your shield does get a +1 weapon damage for the purposes of those extra shield bashes, predominantly.
Yeah. It should be pointed out all of these things like +1 W and some of the ones we're about to talk about will also apply if you use the active attacks in the tree that do a shield bash. They will get these benefits.
Alright, Vicious Shield 2, your shield gets +1 critical threat range, +1 critical multiplier, and +1 weapon. Again, this is predominantly, you'll see this in your secondary shield bashes. While you have a shield equipped, an additional 5% combat style bonus to melee attack speed. And then finally, Shield Champion, +2 attack, +2 damage, and +5 double strike. Your shield gains an additional weapon die, or weapon rather. And your shield bashes stun enemies 5% of the time. DC is 10 plus half your character level, plus your strength modifier, plus your stun bonus, which, as you saw, say in the Harper tree, for example, you might be able to do some stuff there.
I should say that there is a piece of text missing there. The capstone also gives another 5% combat style bonus to melee attack speed, so it's a total of +20. Right, and it'll trigger whatever on your shield, so if your shield has any on hit effects or anything like that, this is one way to force that to happen, as opposed to waiting for the shield bash to go off your secondary shield bashes.
Oh, sorry, it looks like I had myself accidentally muted. Sorry about that. We were talking about Shield Smash. With a shield equipped, it's a melee attack for up to +3, 1, 2, and 3 weapon damage, and then your PRR and MRR are increased for a period of time. Sorry for accidentally muting myself. I will show that off in just a little bit. Unbalancing Shove. When you shield bash, damaged enemies get -1 to their saving throws for 2, 4, or 6 seconds based on investment. And armor training is the final one, +1 to balance, intimidate, jump, reduces your total penalty to skills from armor and shield by 1, 2, or 3, and that skill increases up to +3 as well with investment. Really a way to just give yourself a little bit more of a skill boost. You may be heavy armored, and that may be impacting your skills.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to jump in heavy armor.
All right, yeah, right, absolutely. There you go. The next tier 2 here, Shield Specialization 2. When you have a shield equipped, you get +1 to hit damage and armor class. This is, really something you're seeing throughout the line here of shield specialization. Brutality is a +1, 2, or 3 based on investment. The DC of your stunning abilities. I know, again, a lot of people with stunning abilities might well want to look at Vanguard for their fighters and paladins. The next one, Stunning Shield. This is another active attack. When you have a shield equipped, you can activate it to make a shield bash attack for either +1, 2, or 3 weapon attack based on investment. This attack stuns enemies unless they make a Fortitude saving throw versus the DC, which is the 10 plus your highest ability score modifier plus character level plus stunning bonuses. So the highest ability score modifier is a way that it doesn't necessarily have to be strength.
Right, it doesn't have to be strength. You could be a dwarven constitution build if you want, and max out your constitution, and it would use that.
All right, the next one, Missile Shield. When you have a shield equipped, you gain the benefits of the Deflect Arrows feat, which knocks aside some incoming arrows that would have actually hit you every couple of seconds based on investment. And then an action boost for melee power plus 10, 20, or 30 based on investment. Action boost bonus to melee power for 20 seconds. Just nice clicky ability there. Let's move up to the next tier, Shield Specialization 3, another +1 to hit damage and armor class with the shield equipped. One of the sort of main tiers here of the Vanguard. Follow up when you hit an enemy with an activated attack with certain stunning abilities like Stunning Blow and Stunning Shield. Your melee power is increased whether it works or not. So, way to get yourself some short-term melee power boost. Really by doing what you'd be doing anyway.
Yeah, it's just a nice extra bonus.
And there is an anti-requisite of deflect arrows on that that one, correct? Yeah, I believe.
For missile
Yeah,
shield.
for missile shield down here, right. Next one, Fatal Bulwark. Your shield gains +1 critical threat range. Pretty straightforward there. The next one is Shield Repost. When you're missed in melee while wearing a shield, you'll deal 1d4, 1d6, or 1d8 bludgeoning damage to your attacker based on investment, and this does scale with melee power, so just a way to passively do damage to other things. And then finally we have either a strength or a dexterity boost to that one. Tier 4 here is the final one of a shield, or actually not quite, yeah, the final tier of shield specialization. Again, +1 to hit damage and armor class. Shield block, while you have a shield equipped, you get +3, 6, or 10% chance to block melee attacks and missile attacks.
Right. I should say that we've actually pulled that one. Shield block will not be appearing. That's flipped out to Lamagna, unfortunately, with that text.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That will be replaced with an armor mastery enhancement, which will increase your armor class and maximum dexterity bonus of your armor, which will allow you to get a little more dodge.
Right. That was a change actually coming in the next thing on Lamagna, so we'll just skip that one then for now. Uh-oh. Myrmidon?
Myrmidon's Edge.
Alright. +1 to attack rolls to confirm critical hits, and +1 damage on critical hits. Just a straight attack and confirmation of your critical hit bonus. +1, +2, or +3. Nice way to give yourself some good damage on hits. And then finally the last tier of the strength ability. Now let's move up to the tier 5. Shield to the face. +10% chance to make a secondary shield bash, and this stacks with the other chances to make a secondary shield bash. So you can get a total of 40% chance to make a secondary shield bash simply from the Vanguard tree.
Right. This is the place, if you want secondary shield bashes, Vanguard is the tree you're going to want to be in.
Alright, next one, Disorienting Smash. When you shield bash, damaged enemies get a stack of vulnerability, which makes them take 1% more damage for 3 seconds. It stacks up to 20 times and loses 1 stack when it happens on expiration. And this, what happens when you invest in this? I'm trying to see. Is it...
It increases how often you can add a stack of vulnerability, which, since vulnerability only lasts 3 seconds, is a pretty big deal if you want to stack it up on bosses, for instance.
So theoretically, you could dish out 20% more damage while you keep this Disorienting Smash active, and basically, whether it's active, you gain stacks based on your shield bash. So if you're the type of person who invests heavily, have a lot of secondary shield bashing, this will really give yourself a probably relatively sustained damage boost.
Yeah, on a boss, anything that you actually get to hit a number of times. And again, this is one of those places where the shield bash counts if you use the actives in this tree. So when you walk up to a boss, you can just use your stunning shield, or which won't be great, but also shield smash, and just build up some stacks very quickly.
Alright, this next one is the one that people in chat have been asking about. This is the one that is a little bit like Abundant Step in that it does move you forward a little ways and in a quick fashion. We're actually going to show this off, I think, in just a little bit. When you have a shield equipped, you can move forward in a line, delivering a shield bash attack to every creature hit. The bash does 1, 2, or 3 weapon damage based on investment. This is something really entirely new for DDO.
It's pretty new, and I should point out the text is actually wrong. It's better than it says. It actually has a chance to knock down every enemy that you run into if they don't make a fortitude saving throw. So this is an AoE knockdown and movement skill.
I like it. We'll show this off in just a second. And then finally, Armored Strength is +10 melee power, just a real straightforward melee power boost. Finish out my trees here just to take it. Alright, I do have a weapon equipped here, and this is, like I say, this is both for fighters and paladins, the Vanguard tree. While I'm getting ready to do this stuff, let's answer a couple of questions. Do bucklers work with Shield Bash? Princess Spiker asked.
They definitely do. All shields will work. Bucklers, small shields, heavy shields, they're all in.
Alright, next one, let's see. Someone's saying basically if they want a tank, they can switch to Unyielding Sentinel, Damage Dreadnought. For the Vanguard tree, it's Sword and Board. Not trivial to switch back and forth, although that should bump up damage a ton. Carpentry offers that tip.
Right. This isn't really intended as a tanking tree, but both fighters and paladins have another tanking tree. So if you want to make a shield hybrid of tanking and DPS, we would expect you would probably take a defender tree and Vanguard as well.
Now, Seikojin mentions, his opinion, it's a little bit of a bummer that Vanguard doesn't have a passive stun from using a shield, like, say, the Epic Swashbuckler does. There are, knockdown abilities in that, but it doesn't have a passive stun ability like the Swashbuckler does.
Well, the Capstone does give you a chance to automatically stun when you're shield bashing, which is just when you're attacking normally. So there is that. Does require 20 levels, of course.
Yep, let's see. I'm trying to see if we have any other questions directly related to this tree. Alright, yeah, I think we're ready to go here on the Vanguard. Let's take a look at our poor little test kobolds here. I'm going to put up my Shield Rush, my Shield Smash, and then Stunning Shield. Let's start off actually with the Stunning Shield. Here's our poor little guinea pig kobold. By the way, the shield I'm using is what's the name of that one? Yeah, a Skyvault shield there. I just thought it was kind of particularly big. Boom. So that's what it does. Again, it'll stun enemies unless they make a Fortitude saving throw, and it does a bonus to your attack. As you can see, the guy is stunned. Alright, let's take a look at Shield Smash. This one, you activate your shield for +3 weapon damage, and PRR and MRR are increased while you do it. Let's pick on a poor different kobold. Boom. Smash ability. And I missed on that one, unfortunately. There we go. Smash attack, and again, they are very much hurt. Notice that actually looks like it does have a little stun effect there, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think you actually got the chance to stun there. So.
Yep. All right, now here's sort of the new one. These are all new, but I mean here's the one that you guys are really here to look at. And this is the Shield Rush. So you'll move forward in a line and dealing bash damage to every creature hit. Watch when I activate this. Boom. Look at those poor souls sitting there. While you have a shield equipped, so again, you move forward in a line, delivering a shield bash attack to every creature that you hit. It does extra weapon damage. And so this really will just move through mobs.
This will move through mobs. It will trigger a lot of your on-hit shield effects, and it will probably knock a lot of them down. So we expect this to be a pretty popular ability.
And it doesn't, I mean, you don't need to target. It's really just moves forward in a straight line there.
Yeah, this one you just go.
I'm going to let the cooldown finish up, and I'm going to show you. You can use this in the air as well.
Absolutely. It is very much like Abundant Step if you want to use it that way, but it's a lot better if you've got a pile of enemies to bowl through.
Might take a little practice to get that thing working up in the air, but I'll have to do that. All right, let's answer just a couple of general questions here before we wrap things up. Let's see, someone is asking, the War Chanter's Cap War Master, when it is used with Eld Edge, is it supposed to work on all party members around you or only the target party member? I don't actually know the answer to that one.
I believe that's only supposed to be a single target. It is not. Eld Edge does not necessarily work with all enhancements for making them party-wide.
All right. This does work with, say, this particular build has tower shields, but all this stuff works with all shields, tower, all the way down to bucklers. Oh, I think we mentioned that earlier.
I see someone asking if you can jump and do Shield Rush, and the answer is yes, you can do that.
All right, let's see. Let's see if we have any general questions or anything before we call it done. Are we going to do anything special for Talk Like a Pirate Day? I'll have to ask Talera about that. I don't have a direct answer for you right now. Yeah, there we go. There's a couple knocked down. We do not currently have plans to distribute, say, Hearts of Wood to every character when Update 23 goes live. You can reset your enhancements through Plat or whatever if you want to opt into these new trees for your particular build.
Right. We did actually have some thinking on that. We feel like with Update 23, we're not doing a lot to make existing characters worse, which, for instance, last year with the Enhancement Pass, we knew a lot of existing characters were going to need some reworking, and we wanted to give players an option. But we feel like most existing characters should more or less continue working as they have, or just become better due to armor passes or other melee power, for instance, being added in some of the Epic Destinies. And so, while you have the option to change to a new character if you want, your old characters should still work, basically.
Carpin G asks, does the attack speed bonus stack with item speed bonuses? This would... the answer is yes.
Combat style bonus to melee attack speed should be stacking with items, because as far as I know, combat style bonuses is not available in items. However, combat style bonus to melee attack speed is something that's also available in some other forms. For instance, single weapon fighting also gives a combat style bonus to attack speed. So if you have single weapon fighting, those feats will not stack with this. Of course, that would require shield and swashbuckling, so in that respect, that won't work together.
Shattered asks pretty early on in chat, do we have any plans basically for which classes might get the next pass? We're not entirely ready to answer that question yet, but we've already hinted that some of the things we're looking to look at are, say, the ranged characters and the barbarians, I think, are on our relative short-term
Barbarians are, we may get, and again, this is not necessarily the next update, it may be, but in the next year for sure, maybe hopefully sooner than that. We probably want to look at barbarians. We probably want to look at some ranged combat, examine some of that, especially as it scales into epic. And we, of course, will continue, as we've been doing for the past year, look at adding more enhancement trees for some of the classes that don't have 3 yet, which is not many left at this point.
Someone asks, when is the update coming out? Again, we're not yet ready to announce an exact release date for it, but it's getting closer. You'll probably see it at least a few weeks yet, but we'll be here probably not too long after that. So we'll be closer to ready to announce a release date fairly soon, but it's still just a little bit too early to say for sure.
Haste is a different bonus type, so it will stack with the combat style bonus to attack speed.
What about having Vanguard work with orbs? Has there been any thought about that?
We don't have any current plans to make orbs treated as shields for this purpose, so no, it is not intended to work with orbs.
All right, I think we're running pretty much out of time here. Let's see, does the Shield Rush ability work with Adrenaline?
I believe it will work on the first target that you hit, but you will then do a shield bash on the first target that you hit, and that will dispel the adrenaline. So,
right, there you go. Good answer. All right. Is Shield Rush on its own timer? It doesn't have the same cooldown as Leap of Faith? Yes, they should all have their own. They will have their own.
They have their own.
Yeah.
They have their own longer timer, but in general, anything that does something like Abundant Step, we do put on a small shared cooldown so that you can't just chain 3 or 4 of them together and fly through the air. So you will have to finish doing the Shield Rush before you could trigger something like Leap of Faith.
And that's because these kind of things, if we were to allow that, could cause some problems. It could break content, frankly. So we don't want to do that. The Armor Mastery enhancement that's coming this week, what does that do? Do you have that off the top of your head?
I believe that's going to add 1, 2, 3 armor class for the 3 different ranks, as well as 1, 2, 3 maximum dexterity bonus to your armor, which of course will also raise your dodge cap, most likely, especially if you're wearing heavy armor, as we expect some paladins and fighters will be doing with Update 23.
Titan mentioned something which may be a bug. He says he got the melee power boost on Lamani. It was showing 0 charges. How does he get charges for his melee
yes,
power
that
boost?
was definitely a bug. We have addressed that. That should be fixed in the upcoming Lamani build this week.
And finally, Hipperin asks, does Vanguard stuff, like this stuff, work in animal forms?
I believe most of it will not.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Not intended to function in that way.
All right, that's going to wrap it up. Thanks very much, Vargouille, for joining me on today's weekly Wednesday lunchtime live stream. Appreciate you taking some time out for me.
Thanks, Cordovan, and thanks everyone for coming to the live stream.
All right, and just a quick note here. I am not going to be broadcasting again at 1:30 today. I actually could not make it to the Summer Fling this week because we have another appointment I need to get to. We are actually going to be doing a little bit of press demoing this afternoon. So I have, frankly, a meeting conflict with that, so I need to get ready for that. So I can't do the Summer Fling this week. However, I know for a fact that Grim and Samus, Lessa and crew will be there. So if you want to check out their Twitch streams, it'll be twitch.tv/ let's see, there's Samus Garobo, Lessa101, Grimord, Bonnie Bew, B-E-W, and if you want to multi-twitch it, you just do multi-twitch.tv and then / and then all of the usernames separated by slashes there if you want to see it all in one big panel. But we're not going to be able to make it to the Summer Fling this week. Sorry about that. We will be back again next week, most likely, with the Summer Fling. And we will be back next Wednesday, starting at noon Eastern, -4 GMT, for the weekly Wednesday lunchtime live stream. Thank you very much for joining us. Don't forget to follow us on twitch.tv/DDO stream if you want to be notified for whenever we're going live. You can opt in, get a quick email or other kind of notification, say, hey, we're live, you want to see it? And you just follow the link right there. Makes it really nice and easy. I think next week, I don't entirely have my plans set in stone. We will either be on Lamania or we will be on the live servers. Unsure, depends kind of what we want to show off here. And then in future weeks, I believe 2 weeks from today, we're actually going to be doing an Update 23 preview show with members of the DDO team, which is similar to what we've seen, say, for the Update 21 and Update 22 previews, where we cram this all in to one hour time frame where you can just get a quick overview on everything that's going on. So thanks again very much for joining us, and we will see you again soon.